Howdy YouTube and welcome to this episode of The Gunman. So today I'm going to be doing a review and demonstration on the Quartz Liquid Glass VHS Clear Coat. So as you can see here, this is the labeling and a quick look at the clear coat hardener and the reducer that goes with it. The clear coat itself is a 2-to-1 clear, and on the can it actually doesn't say to put any thinner in it, which is what that VOC Speedster is. I'm pretty damn sure it's thinner anyway. And yeah, on the can it says not to put any in, and I've heard that the people in Germany, they don't put any thinner in it at all, and they use it as a full tack and whack. So exactly what you see me doing here on this Audi RS5, just bang one coat followed by another coat straight away. So back in Victoria they used to call that 3070, commonly referred to as tack and whack or grip and rip or anything, whatever you like to call it, but it's just two coats of a VHS, HS or low VOC clear coat, and you'll actually be left with a superior film build even than if you were to put two full coats and leaving a 5-minute flash off time with your standard say MS clear coats or something like that. I believe that in parts of Europe the MS clears might even have some regulations around them that governments don't like them being used because they're actually a bit worse for the environment. So I'll spend a minute explaining what VOC or low VOC, HS and MS clear coats are. It's all to do with the solid contents inside of the clear coat. So if you look at the technical data sheets on any clear coats or any paint related material, will actually give you a rating of the solid contents included in the paint. So I think HS, like I've read a few up, and I think most around HS is around like 550 grams per litre of solid content, and then your MS was like, I think it was around 400 or 450. So yeah, basically that's to do with what's going to evaporate out. So the solid content, that's obviously going to be what stays there on the panel, and the stuff that isn't solids is going to evaporate out during the drying process. So the more solids, the less evaporation, the better for the environment, basically, in a nutshell. If you followed that, don't know if you did, but it's not too hard to get your head around, really. And especially if you've used an MS compared to a HS clear coat, yeah, you should be able to see, yeah, it's a lot thicker. Basically, in like total layman terms, HS and low VOC clears and VHS, which is what this is, very high solid, they're basically heaps thicker, you know. So yeah, this first job I did, this RS5, this Audi, I didn't put any thinners in it because that's what it actually said on the label. Like, it didn't say up to 10% reducer. So I just thought, hey, I'll start from this and take it from there. And yeah, it's a little bit thick. It's not as nice to use, I've found, as when I put a bit of that thinner into it. So on this bonnet here, like, I actually even gave it a minute or two flash off time. So I put a wet coat on this bonnet, then went back over, did the bumper bar and fender, and then came back to the bonnet, and it looked all good. And then I baked it, and after the bake it started to solvent pop, and I do actually have a little bit of footage of what solvent pop is and what it looks like. So yeah, if you guys end up getting any solvent popping with this clear, the best recommendation I can say is to put, say, I don't know, even 1 to 10% reducer in it. Yes, 1% actually does it. Like, I've used this clear for a full week now. I used it on every single job for a full week, and yeah, as I said, this first job, no reducer. Then I spoke to Chris from Spray Guns Direct, and he said, hey, you know, the guy in Ireland, like the Irish distributor of Quartz Clear, he said that he just tells everyone to put 5 to 10% of the VOC Performance Speedster in, which is basically thinners, as I said before. And yeah, they get much better results doing it that way. So yeah, if you are getting runs or if you are getting solvent pop, just put a bit of reducer in it. And as I said, like, I've been using it on every single job for a week, and even like 1% is enough. So I mix it up on the scales at the 2-to-1 ratio, and then say if I'm mixing up 500 mils, I'll just put in 5 grams. So that's like, yeah, 1%, 5 grams of thinners, it's all it needs. And yeah, you can still tack and whack it, so you can still just go bang, first coat, second coat with 1%. And I even, like, later in this video, I'll even be tack and whacking this clear coat at 10% reducer. So they actually recommend when you're putting 10% reducer in to use it just as an MS clear coat. Like put one coat on, wait for 5 minutes or so, at least for it to tack off, depending on the temperature of the day and all that, and then put your second coat on. But I've found that even with 10%, the car that I am doing it on is a Mazda, so they don't put much clear on them. I specifically put that 10% in because it is a Mazda to try and get that Mazda finish. Like if you were to spray this clear without any reducer in it straight onto it and try to replicate like a Mazda finish, you're probably going to struggle a little bit. Whereas this was an Audi, so a lot of the European cars, they've got like a thick orange peel, so nice wet finish on them, as you can see here. So yeah, this car here, like the clear coat replicated the finish on this car perfectly. So I'm not sure how well you can see here, but this is a look at the car with a little bit of solvent pop in it. But it's one of those things that give the buff a bit of a run over with the buff, and it always comes out. So not a big deal, but yeah, you obviously would rather not get it, but sometimes you do get it. The owner of this car was actually extremely happy with the way that his car came up. I don't usually get a thanks from the boss, but the boss came to me the day after this car was picked up in the morning. First thing he said, "Oh man, the guy who owned that car, he was just over the moon with how well it came up." So yeah, no, it's good. As you see, I painted that door, the fender, bumper, and blend on the other fender, and yeah, sprayed the bonnet inside and out because it was a new bonnet on it. So yeah, come up like glass. It really did. Liquid glass, that's solid glass right there. So yeah, that was the very first job I painted in it, the Audi here. And next up, I painted a E-Type Jaguar British Racing Green. Really nice colour, really nice car, obviously. And second up, I went 10% reducer. So you'll probably see straight up that this fender here on this E-Type Jag just comes up glassy as, like a lot finer and just flatter finish than what you saw on that Audi. But as I said, it's not like a big deal at all because zero reducer on that Audi, it just replicated that finish ideally, perfectly. But yeah, your drying times are going to increase if you don't put the thinner in. Now, on the can, it said 8 to 10 minute bake times at 60 degrees until it's cured. I found that not to be quite true. On the can of my Standox Standard Clear, which is what I usually use, it says 20 to 30 minutes at 60 degrees. So what I did with that Audi, I gave it like a 15-minute bake, which is a short bake compared to the usual, and it would still totally touch dry. So yeah, I recommend just giving it your standard bake. If you bake for 30 minutes, give it 30 minutes. Now, in their defense, maybe they're referring to 8 to 10 minutes at 60, and a 30-minute bake in my booth. Like, it probably takes 10 minutes to get up to temperature, 5 to 10 minutes to actually get up there, and then it might only spend, 8 minutes at 60, even if you give it a half-hour bake. So it might take 10 minutes for the booth to get to 60, it might take a further 10 minutes for the panel to get to 60, and then you're actually only really giving it that 8 to 10 minutes, even if you flick that booth on for 30 minutes. So yeah, I'm not used to such a short bake time on the can unless you actually hit that booth for, like, that's what it usually refers to. If the booth, it's usually how long you actually turn the booth on bake for. So if that makes sense. Sorry if I started muddling my words a little bit. And this job here, this one is another 10%, but a full tack and wax. So that E-Type Jag, I did give it a few minutes in between coats, but this one here, bang, full tack and wax. So on your everyday refinishing jobs like this, just a Mazda, like the rest of the cars started to fade off a bit because I don't put a great deal of paint on there. You're going to be fine on, your everyday smash work to use this as a tack and whack method, even at 10% reducer. And I'll give you guys a quick look at this in a few minutes, how it dries down. It's after I think I gave this one 25-minute bake. So like if the boys aren't going to jump straight onto it and put the panels onto it, I'll just give it like 25-minute bake. But if I know that the guys are going to start fitting that job straight up, I'll just always give it 30 minutes. You can actually put rocket in this. So U-POL has a product called Paint Rocket, and and you can just put it in there and it speeds up the drying times really well. Like, we had a few issues with some of our paint, our clear coats not drying very well at all. Like, Duke Zone was a pretty popular budget paint line here in Australia for a while, and then they changed it, but they ruined it, and yeah, it's just not good at all anymore. Like, the new Duke Zone HS, you can put rocket in it, it does nothing, it takes forever to dry, but this stuff here, look, this is the selling point of this stuff, right? It's cheap. It is cheaper than what any other quality clear, this quality, I've ever seen. So I highly recommend getting some of this if you can get it at a good price. At the moment, because it's made in Germany, getting it out to the rest of the world is the current problem that they're having. So yeah, look, I believe that they're looking into some avenues to get it, like to get some Australian distributors and to get some US distributors. But if you can get this clear in the future or now at a good price, absolutely go for it. Gets 2 big thumbs up from Gunny. Look, I've been looking forward to making this review all week. I hope you guys did enjoy it. And yeah, until then, get out there and paint some shit.